Greetings to all and welcome to the Seattle Law of One podcast. Today's episode is about creators and co-creators. According to almost all the world's major religions, it would be considered blasphemous, if not insane, to declare to others that you are God. And yet that's probably the most basic fundamental premise of the Law of One, that you are in fact, on the deepest level, the same God those religions refer to, but never see more than a small part of. And moreover, you are also a co-creator, a conscious creative being who participates with the one infinite creator in the ongoing process of universal creation and evolution. How so? Let's find out. My name is Jonathan Tong. I'm facilitator for the Seattle Law of One podcast. We can be found in the list of study groups on the LNL research website shown on your screen. We do also have a Facebook group, and we do meet on Zoom twice a week, Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time, Saturdays 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. You don't have to live in Seattle or anywhere near Seattle to join our Facebook group or our Zoom sessions. Anyone who's interested and available is welcome to join. You can contact us at seattlelawofone@gmail.com to get on our mailing list. We do send out emails once a week with a Zoom link and information on what we're talking about that week. We do also have a YouTube channel where we keep recordings of previous podcast episodes, as well as recordings of Q&As with Jim McCarty, Austin Bridges, Gary Bean, and Trisha Bean from the LNL Research Channeling team. Just go to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to get notifications when we upload new videos, and contact us at seattlelawofone@gmail.com if you'd like to sit in on any of our Q&As. As mentioned, today's episode is about creators and co-creators. Let's go ahead and meet our panelists. Panelists, go ahead, let our viewers know who you are and where you're calling from, starting with Raquel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Raquel. I'm calling from Wesley Chapel, Florida. Nice to see everyone. Michael, Desi, nice to see you. Jonathan, thank you for having me again. I love coming here, sharing my thoughts and my experiences with everyone. So thanks again for having me.
Always love having you on. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us. Desi?
Hi, I'm Desi, coming in from Austin, Texas, and met Jonathan at the Seattle Law of One retreat back in June, and just excited to chat with y'all and get to know everyone.
So excited to have you back on. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. And Michael?
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm calling in from Southgate, Michigan, and really looking forward to this today.
We are so looking forward to it too. Always a joy to have you on. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Did want to remind our viewers, as always, that none of us here are experts or authorities on the Law of One. We are just normal people like you, having a conversation about things of a spiritual nature that seem important to us. Anything we say could be wrong. You're welcome to disagree with anything that any of us say. If you're already familiar with the Law of One and the entity known as Quo, you might want to skip ahead to the chapter on You Are Creator. Otherwise, for those who are new to the Law of One, you can think of it as a set of spiritual teachings based on the understanding that all is one and that one thing is love. More or less everything we're looking at today could be considered a variation of that one statement. All the reading passages that we're looking at today came to us through the process of channeling. You can think of channeling as a form of telepathic communication between humans and entities such as angelic beings, extraterrestrial beings, inner planes beings, spirits of deceased, higher self, etc. Basically, channel serves as a mouthpiece for other entities to speak through. And in this case, those entities would appear to be of extraterrestrial origin. There are two types of channeling that have been developed by our friends at LNL Research. Trance channeling is when the channel is in a trance state, subconscious or unconscious, as if asleep, meaning they are not at all aware of what words are coming out of their mouth as they're saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Ra back in the early 1980s. Conscious channeling is when the channel is in a conscious but deep meditative state, meaning they're only somewhat aware of what words are coming out of their mouth as they're saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Quo, starting in the mid-1980s up to present day. Who is Quo? You could think of Quo as a group entity made up of three social memory complexes: Ra at 6th density, Latwi at 5th density, Hatan at 4th density. You can think of the social memory complex as a planetary consciousness. It would be as if the entire human population of Earth was merged into one group mind. You can think of densities or dimensions as different levels of consciousness, different levels of reality, since those two things are so closely intertwined. Imagine, if you will, that the elements of earth, fire, water, and air had some form of consciousness, as many indigenous peoples have been saying for centuries that they do. We would call that first density. You can think of second density as the level of consciousness of plants and animals, clearly a significant quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of what we would consider inanimate matter. You can think of third density as the level of consciousness of humans and cetaceans, such as whales and dolphins. Again, a significant quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of plants and other animals. You can think of fourth density as the level of consciousness of the social memory complex. Again, as if the entire human population of Earth was merged into one single group consciousness. Clearly a significant quantum leap above and beyond the consciousness of one individual person. You can think of fifth density as whatever would be a comparable quantum leap above and beyond fourth density. You can think of sixth density as whatever would be a comparable quantum leap above and beyond fifth density. There is more to it than that, but for now, suffice it to say, the entity known as Quo appears to be made up of three planetary consciousnesses: Ra at sixth density, Latui at fifth density, Hatan at fourth density. First contact with Quo was made by the LNL research channeling team in 1986, almost 2 years after the end of the Ra contact in 1984. They have been channeled every month since then, up to the present day, by the LNL research channeling team. You can find transcripts of those sessions in the LNL conscious channeling library shown on your screen. Having said that, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple passages on how you are the creator. In session 74 of the Ra contact in question 11, Ra said, "The heart of the discipline of the personality is threefold. 1, know yourself. 2, accept yourself. 3, become the creator. The third step is that which, when accomplished, renders one the most humble servant of all, transparent in personality and completely able to know and accept other selves. In relation to the pursuit of the magical working, the continuing discipline of the personality involves the adept in knowing itself, accepting itself, and thus clearing the path toward the great indigo gateway to the creator. To become the creator is to become all that there is. There is then no personality in the sense with which the adept begins its learned teaching. As the consciousness of the indigo ray becomes more crystalline, more work may be done, more may be expressed from intelligent infinity." We did a podcast episode on discipline of the personality not too long ago. Feel free to check out that episode to get more details on this. But otherwise, yeah, it always cracks me up when I read this passage. They're just saying that there's three things. All you got to do is know yourself, and then become God, become the infinite creator. It's that simple. Any thoughts on that, Raquel? What do you make out of this?
Easy peasy, it's like what's not to understand, right? I mean,
Right.
deep spiritual concepts like waddled down into three sentences basically. But if I'm gonna break it down and really kind of go over what I think they're trying to say is to know yourself. What it is, what is it to know yourself? What do you like? What's your dislikes? When do you start to set boundaries around things that you're not comfortable with, or that's not right for you? And I think those are the things that you kind of start to unpack and start to learn about yourself, doing a little bit of shadow work there. And the more you peel back those layers and really try to understand yourself, I think that's when you start to accept this person. Like, okay, this person has anger issues sometimes. This person may talk a lot sometimes. Whatever it is that you've like kind of tucked away and hidden away, it's time to like integrate that. And when you can begin to accept yourself and all your flaws and everything that may bother other people, but you start to recognize that that's a part of me and I can merge that with the true self, I think that's when you begin the acceptance. And for me, the part where they say accept yourself, I think they're speaking of self-love there. It's my interpretation, because the more you love yourself and accept yourself is the more you become the creator, because the creator is love, right? And in loving yourself, you start to love others. And that's really how you become the creator, by seeing other people as the creator. But how do you get there? It's the step of really loving the self. And then you can say, oh, okay, I love that other person because I know for a fact they're the creator too. And I think that's kind of where they're going here with that
What a great way to break it down. Yeah, I love that. Appreciate it. Desi, any thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, the accept yourself part I think is important because when we believe we're wrong for thinking a certain way or behaving a certain way, um, and we don't accept it, I think you add distortions on top of it. There's already kind of a flaw, and then you're like making excuses for it or making reasons why it's a thing, and it doesn't allow you to transform that sort of flaw into a gift if you don't accept it first.
Yeah.
And realize that inside of that there's a glimmer of goodness, I guess, that just needs to be kind of extracted out of that so-called flaw that you have. And it does make you more, like Raquel was saying, willing to be accepting of other people's flaws because you're like, I have flaws I'm working through. They have flaws. I still love them. They're worthy of love no matter what flaw they're carrying at that moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have for sure found that to be the case in many of our Zoom discussions, when we're chatting on Tuesdays or Saturdays, that most people don't have any problem loving others or forgiving others or accepting others, no matter how different they may be. But it's loving themselves and accepting themselves that a lot of people really do have a difficult time with. So I appreciate your highlighting that. Because I guess you do have to go through those two steps of knowing yourself and accepting yourself before you really can become creator, I think. Any thoughts, Michael? Anything to add?
Yeah, no, accepting yourself, I see that as one of the more important ones. I mean, that's where you keep your balance, right? If you can accept yourself and how you'll feel, you can go ahead and feel those emotions all the way through, and that keeps the chakras clear. Being able to let it flow through, and whatever they say the time frame is, maybe 30, 60 seconds to feel the emotions, then release them. You're not backing them up anywhere.
For sure. For sure. I'm curious what you guys think about the step 3, the becoming the creator part. As I was reflecting on, writing the introduction, I was thinking, I think it would be true to say that calling yourself God would be considered blasphemous in just about every world religion, major world religion, except for Hinduism. I think in Hinduism, it is pretty much a fundamental principle that they use the phrase Atman as Brahman, I think, to express the understanding that the individual soul or the Atman is ultimately the same thing as the universal soul or ultimate reality as Brahman. Or to put it in pop culture terms, Batman is Robin. It's like we're all the same. If we're all one infinite creator, then it's true. Yeah, everyone is creator. Any thoughts on that? Like, is that something that was new to you before the Law of One? The idea that you, in fact, are God. But you guys can speak in any order, or Raquel, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, the idea that we are gods is, it wasn't foreign to me, but I still at the early stages of spiritual seeking felt like God was still outside myself. And so that's the illusion that has been set up, this barrier between you and God. Like when I watch old shows now, like I love historical shows, like the Vikings and stuff like that, because the way they portray religion is they made it such a barrier between just a regular person and God. And they put this person there and say, hey, you can't get to God unless you go through this person, and you got to come and you got to give him money and you got to show up every week. And it was just this whole process that people were like, really? That's how I get to God? And a lot of people still believe that today. But my feeling is that we're all tiny little pieces, like tiny puzzle pieces, and we make up a whole. And so our job here, I feel, is to show the rarest parts of ourselves. That's how you become the creator, because the creator is you, but like the true you, the very rarest part, the one that you're afraid to show because society said, no, that's not you. If you start to really just be authentically you, that's when the creator's like, okay, I'm gonna light that one up because that one knows what the truth is. Be yourself authentically. That's the creator shining through you. And we all play our little parts and we all get together and the whole is the creator, but we're all little puzzle pieces in that whole.
Yeah, I appreciate the way that you framed that. And it reminds me of what we said at the beginning, that the Law of One is a set of spiritual teachings based on the understanding that all is one. And I can't remember. There was a science fiction book I read many, many years ago where they used the visual of the planet Earth. When you look at, the Earth from space, you see what appears to be separate continents. But if you go like below sea level and go a little bit deeper, you find that, oh, well, they are in fact all connected and all is one. And I think you can think of people as like that. We all seem like separate entities, but when you go deeper below the surface, you find that, yeah, we are in fact all one. So in that sense, the discipline of the personality makes self, know yourself, accept yourself, and you will find that on the deepest level of knowing yourself and accepting yourself, you are in fact one with everything. I know that's my take on it. Does he have any thoughts on that? How do you look at this?
Yeah, I think at first glance someone might think like, oh, if I see myself as God, I'm seeing myself as better than other people, but they're forgetting the side that you're seeing others as the creator too. So that's humbling. It's not just like I'm this thing that's better than other people. And I do think the religions of the world put kind of like Raquel was saying, like an intermediary between you and God in order to kind of control people, to not give them their full empowerment to say, like, you're a co-creator of God. And it's even weird how in the Bible, there's a quote that says, the kingdom of God is at hand, which is basically like, it's like, how much closer could it be than your hand? And it's like literally saying like, you're a co-creator, even within that whole religion or the book that speaks of it. So I find that funny that that's in the Bible, but yet not fully accepted that you are the creator.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's been my beef with organized religions for a long time, that they really do seem to be more about control than about helping people connect with God.
Yeah.
Michael, any thoughts on anything?
On that, yeah, and becoming the creator, that's really all religions. They want you to subdue yourself, to go ahead and be less than what you are, to follow the dogma. And what you are isn't any good, so we need to change you. We need to get you baptized, something like that. So the whole thing is about, yeah, yes, subduing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Well said. Appreciate it. Shall we take a look at another passage? Anybody have anything to add on this one before we look at something else? This is a passage from a Quo channeling on January 23rd, 2010. Quo said, "You carry within you not only fourth density, but all densities, all emotions, all circumstances, all that is in manifestation, all that can be imagined, and all those mysteries and paradoxes that lie beyond the imagination. All this is within you, and therefore you are the one infinite creator and the one creation. We are not saying that you have grown into your puppy feet yet. You are very young gods, and there is much to burn away in the furnace of everyday life as you go about collecting to yourself those gems of being that are the very realistic part of you." I love that part about growing into your puppy feet. It's a really funny metaphor to use. And again, all of these things that we read so far came through the process of channeling. The person who was saying these things really didn't know what words were coming out of their mouth. They were just trying to make what they felt to be telepathic contact with what they believed to be an extraterrestrial entity, and just looking for the words that were coming to them. And apparently the words that came this time were puppy feet, growing into your puppy feet. Does he have any thoughts on anything in this passage?
Sure. I think of it kind of like how we're fractals of God. So we still carry within ourselves everything. And similar to a fractal is just like a repeating pattern, that still creates kind of like complexity, even though it has like everything in the fractal, I guess. So that's kind of how I see it. Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it, I think, because the fractal is a small part of the whole, and yet it still
Right.
has the
But it
whole.
has everything. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Michael, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I love that image that Desi put out there, like a fractal from it, or a drop from the ocean, where you contain every bit of everything that makes the ocean is in that one drop.
Nice. Yeah, wasn't that something that Rumi said? One drop of water contains the whole ocean, or something like that.
Yeah,
Somebody who knows better probably knows that, but yeah, that's also a great visual. Raquel, anything to add?
Sure, I'll just touch on where it says, and there is much to burn away in the furnace of everyday life as you go about collecting to yourself those gems. For me, that speaks to like the catalyst that you go through and you learning the lessons through those catalysts, and then that information becomes wisdom to you. That's the gems, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, how much, like, once you learn the lesson of a major catalyst, and it seeds into the soul as wisdom. One, you don't have to learn that lesson anymore, but two, now you have that wisdom to take forth with you. And when you do graduate and you do move on through the harvest, that wisdom just transfers into the whole collective of your consciousness that you're trying to polarize, you know? So I feel like that's very helpful information to know that through life, that's how we get to learn these things. These experiences are for the creator. So us young gods, we're experiencing things for the creator. For us, it becomes wisdom. For the creator, it's an experience, it's data.
Yeah. Yeah, they often use the terms of you are sparks of the one infinite creator, which I believe they've also referred to the fire, like if you can picture a campfire and the sparks that are coming out of it. The sparks came from the fire, but the creator sends all those things out into the universe to explore and expand its understanding of who it is, and eventually comes back and gives that understanding back to the source through those experiences that I think you're just describing, which I think is actually a great lead into the next passage. Are you guys ready to look at another passage? Anybody have anything to add on this one?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
It's good. Well, let's take a look at a couple passages on creating for the creator. On July 31st, 2007, Kuo said, "You have all the time in the universe to move through all natural energies and rhythms back to the creator, who is waiting for you with great delight. And you do not wish to return too soon, for the creator wishes to know of the fullness of your experiences, your feelings, and your emotions. That is the harvest that you bring to the creator. Whatever it is, he will love it and you now and forever." And on September 15th, 1996, Kuo said, "When entities attempt to think of time as a value, inevitably they become completely frustrated. The reason for this is that time is illusory. It is tied into space as space is tied into time to create the illusion that something is happening, that there is a past and a future. In actuality, it is our understanding that we are all without space and time, without separation. All is occurring within this one instant that ever has or ever will occur. It is one whole. It is love. Through the illusion of time, love is articulated and mirrored back to its source. And this is deeply, deeply satisfying to the infinite creator." So many things to unpack in these two passages. We could probably spend a couple of hours on it. But as I was reading through that first passage, it was kind of reminding me what Michael said about the drop of the water contains the ocean. And I was picturing, as they were saying, it's kind of like the water cycle. You know, water evaporates, the molecules go up in the atmosphere, they form little drops. They fall as rain, they go through rivers and lakes and streams and in through animals and plants' bodies. Eventually, they make it back to the ocean. And I love this idea that you go through a similar process as you go through all the densities 1 through 7, and eventually you return to the creator. And don't rush it. Creator wants to know everything that you experience in your journey. And I think that's just such a beautiful visual. Michael, any thoughts on anything here?
Yeah, I love the part where Quo states that creator wishes to know of the fullness of your experiences, your feelings, and your emotions. And really, that's what we are creating. Everything is an illusion. What we're creating is the experience for us and other selves. We're creating that experience. It can be positive, it can be negative, and that's created through the responses to whatever that catalyst is.
Yeah, which is a great reminder of what they said at the end of the first paragraph of whatever it is, he will love it and you now and forever. And that is a really great thing to remember if you're thinking about people who, like myself, for example, I find I have a hard time with and that I find annoying or objectionable or deplorable or whatever, that, as you guys have already said, they're another part of the creator, experiencing another part of the journey, and creator loves them as much as they love me, and they're going to love what they bring back to them, whether it's positive or negative. They're both of equal value. And that's something I'm continuing to learn every day. Anything to add, Raquel?
Absolutely. I love this passage, actually. I love knowing that, things, first of all, how smart are we? And I'm talking about us in the higher densities, because we created this. It just said, like, there is no time. There is just, really just space, really. And so for us to, like, create an atmosphere where we can get deep in our learning and really bring back even more for the creator, that's very, very, amazing to think that. I'm sure somewhere along the way, we all co-created this process for ourselves, right? And it's beautiful to think that we're so smart. But besides that, I love knowing that anything, just anything you experience, and I know it's hard, like when you're experiencing like depression or anxiety or fear, or, that's when you're obviously more separated from the creator, in my opinion. But just knowing that even those feelings and those emotions, they're still like amazing and beautiful for the creator. And that's why I personally think the harvest is not just about walking the steps of light or graduating. It's really about it's like literally a harvest for a farmer. What did he reap for his crops, from his crops now? Some were good crops, some were bad crops, but what did he reap? And so I think the experiences that we bring back to the creator is the most important, regardless of what they are.
Agree. Yeah, and speaking of being smart and such, it reminds me that another name for God, or the one infinite creator in the law of one, is intelligent infinity, and or the one original thought. It's a good reminder that you really could think of everything as a giant mind. It's the mind of God, and we're all like brain cells in the mind of God, and
I'm
we're
sure
all reflecting back to each other, to creator, like being in a hall of mirrors. And
yeah, we picked a few that we picked the creator's brain. Like, how can we help you more, creator? Because I really think that it's just ingenious. When you think about, we created something out of nothing, to really get that polarization going.
yeah, and intelligent infinity is never satisfied. Intelligent infinity always wants to learn more. So however long it's been around, however much knowledge it's acquired up to this point, it's still creating us, because creator doesn't know what it's like to be Raquel or Desi or Michael or me. And so we're bringing back more information to creator. And apparently that is deeply, deeply satisfying to the infinite creator. Any thoughts, Desi? Anything to add?
Yeah, I think that because we live in time, we're kind of a little bit obsessed with it. Like we, even just like how we race to do something, we applaud someone for doing something fast. And it's just a kind of, this passage reminds me that it's not about the speed at which you learn a lesson or how the pace that others are learning a lesson, and to just be like, this is about the experience, that God, the ultimate creator, doesn't care about how long it took you to learn that lesson. He just cares that you had experiences, that you gained wisdom, that you helped others gain wisdom. And it's not a race, basically.
That is so profound, I think, and so important, and so easy to forget if one gets caught up in the drama of the third density illusion, where so many of us just want to get this over with as soon as we can and get out of here. But yeah, I really appreciate your sharing that. I think it is so important. Anybody have any other thoughts on this passage before we move on?
When will it end? The creator needs to know too much.
Yeah.
Infinite.
We are boring the one infinite creator right now. It's like, get on to the pop quiz.
The creator is like, I need more data, data, data,
Yeah.
data.
They just released a movie like this. The Last War of the Worlds was all about data. That's all they wanted. They wanted the data. It
I didn't
was,
see that one.
yeah, they
Was
just
that the one
released.
with Tom Cruise in it?
This is the one with Ice Cube in it.
Oh,
On Amazon Prime. If you go to Amazon Prime, The Last War of the World. Oh, I don't mean to spoil it, but
The
yeah,
Last War of the Worlds. Okay.
yeah, they're interested in data.
Okay.
oh,
That
interesting.
was all they wanted.
It's interesting that in our current time, that's also kind of what all these companies are chasing, is data, 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 to build
Yeah.
which is,
Like that's
it
the true
mirrors. Yeah.
currency.
It
Yeah.
mirrors.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like that's the true currency, right? Data at this point.
It's like information. It's
Yeah.
like I feel like the creator is very information dense. And that's kind of what we're trying to replicate in the material world, is just like getting more and more, accumulating more information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah, well, let's take a look at some more information. And let's take a look at a couple passages on creating love. On January 24th, 2009, Quo said, "If you see yourself as love and you see objects about you as love, then love is loving love, whatever you do. To translate that into another form, we might say that if you perceive yourself as the creator, then you know that you are a person of power. Therefore, your striving can cease, for a powerful person does not need to strive effortfully. If you perceive those about you as the creator, then you know that your relationship is creator to creator. Since the creator is love, then you are love, loving love." And on February 9th, 1986, Quo said, "What a treasure your hearts are when they love. I beg you to love. It does not matter that you do not love perfect according to your own judgment. It does not matter that you do not love all the time. It matters that you see your inner state of love as the cornerstone of your existence, your seeking, and your destiny, for this universe is one thing and one thing only. It is love, the creative love. The one original thought is love. It is within your heart that this love is reproduced so that you become creative also." And lastly, on February 7th, 1999, Quo said, "May you find ever more creative ways to share the infinite love and light that will come through you by blessing that energy and by consciously sending it out into the world. We encourage each who hears these words to take the self very seriously in terms of developing a daily practice that feeds the metaphysical self, whether by meditation or prayer, contemplation or rumination, the gazing at inspiring objects, or the reading of inspired words. You will find these techniques of entraining the mind to be most helpful." Love those first two passages in particular, I think, because they remind me, again, of what we said at the outset. You could sum up the whole law of one as that all is one and that one thing is love. According to the law of one, everything in the universe is only made of one thing, and that's love. And that's really not the most obvious thing you would guess from looking at the third density world. It really does not seem obvious that that is the case, and that yet that is what they're saying. If you look at things on a deeper level, you'll find that all is one and that one thing is love. So every interaction with everyone else, everything else is creator to creator and love, loving love. That's just a freaky and weird and beautiful thing. Raquel, any thoughts on anything here?
Absolutely. These are beautiful passages. All of them have, their own little information there that you should really take to heart. For me, when I started to figure out how do I cultivate love in my life, like how do I really bring this in? Because I can say I love this person, but how do I really feel this to the depth of my heart, right? And I started looking around me. I started with my family. Some of them are not easy to love, and some of them are more easy to love. And the ones that are harder to love, I just keep working on it, because we think everything like this just happens overnight and you're in a state of love and you just walk around. Oh, that's not reality here, in our third density illusion at this point. So for me, I started with my kids. I started loving spending time with my son just sitting beside me. We're not speaking. We might just be watching a movie, but I look to my right, he's there, he looks in my eyes. That I started to feel the love there. That's the creator. And I've been doing this consciously. We do this unconsciously, but I've been doing this consciously now. When my daughter would want to give me a hug, sometimes I'd be like, I'm too busy, I'm washing the dishes, I can't give a hug. Now, when she wants to hug me, I literally hug and I'm feeling this hug. This just started. So I'm telling you, I didn't just jump into this. I'm like, oh, this is the love. This is how we express this, creator to creator. And I feel that love. And it now I want more, you know, because before I was too busy. Now I want more. And so little steps like that, just cultivating the love around you. I feel like that's how you start, because we might think, oh, we just have to love the whole world. But how do you start loving the world? You have to start one itself, the creator, the creator and others, little steps like that, I find. And when I was talking about cultivating a day-to-day practice, for me, that became so important. I always had like prayer in the morning, a little prayer at night, which is still very my routine. But when I added in the meditation and the contemplation and meditating with the groups, that for me elevated to the point where I started to receive more information, more guidance, and more desire to be with the creator. And now my meditation practice, when I enter my space with the creator, and Morris is the one who gave me this tip, is, you know, it's not a chore to meditate. It's actually where you go commune with the creator. And my space with the creator now is quite elaborate. I love it, but I love going there now. Before I was like, oh, I have to meditate and I have to stay still for like 15, 20 minutes. Now it's like, oh, I'm gonna go spend some time with the creator. I have a whole garden that I'm about to venture in. I love it. So, you know, that's just when you develop a practice, make sure you know that this is your time with the creator, and spend it, you know, how you want to spend it with the creator.
So beautiful. I got nothing to add to that. That was all really, really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Desi, anything to add?
I like what they say about it does not matter that you do not love perfectly according to your own judgment. It does not matter that you do not love all the time. It's more about making that the cornerstone. Like you don't have to be perfect, like, oh, like in every moment I am the most loving I could be, but that you still try to make it a practice that that's what you want to embody and what you want to put out to the world. And one thing I was thinking about this with what Raquel said about focusing on her family first or those around her is that I think with the news and all these like terrible things going on in the world, we can feel like it can put us in a state of like, man, we live in such an unloving world. But it's only in recent history that humans have been exposed to like all the craziness going on around the world, and that you kind of just have to do what you can, just like in the space that's around you, make that loving, make sure that the beings around you are that you're giving love to them. And if everyone did that, then everything would be solved in a way.
Yeah, well said. And I think that kind of goes back to what Raquel was saying about being conscious of what you're doing
Hmm.
and consciously working on trying to be loving, even if, like you said, it's you fall short of what you hoped for. It's the
Yeah.
fact that you're trying that matters.
Mhm.
Michael, anything to add?
Um, Boy, yeah, and love is such a creative energy. I mean, it's a real powerful one, right? That first original thought, much more powerful than anger or anxiety. Like, I would even take an example of my finances, my bills. I don't hate paying my bills. I love the feeling of when they're paid. And in my mind, for me, that does create a lot more paths to them being paid than being angry that I have to pay them. Uh, I've always found love to be a real powerful creative energy.
It's a beautiful thing. You might be the first person I've ever heard say they love paying bills. You are a
I love
very
the
special
feeling.
creator, co-creator, my friend.
Actually,
Well,
I think what Michael, that's a very good statement, Michael. That's always something I think about. I recently started loving spending at the grocery, which is quite frequently. And I started loving it because that means that I'm providing food for my kids and that the universe is helping me do that process. And so if you're angry about it, you know, you're not grateful to the universe, in my opinion. And so when you're joyful about it and you see this as a way that the universe is helping you support your family, that's the love I put into it now. So Michael is so right about that. And thanks for putting that out there.
Yeah, that is so beautifully said. And again, also a great reminder, as I think you're saying that, yeah, that applies to everything. If
Mhm.
you consciously love everything you're doing and try to put love into everything you're doing, they have said, it is very magical and has the power to change the world just through that inner state that you're in. Wow, beautiful. I'm learning so much from you guys as I always do. Anybody have any other thoughts on anything here?
Yeah, I like what Raquel was saying about meditation, how initially it's kind of difficult to start out, but once you practice that and you gain a love for it, it becomes easy. And yeah, I just remind myself that like it should be kind of effortless once you apply love to it, or once you have the deeper comprehension or understanding that what you're doing is growing yourself and helping the creator and helping others. Yeah.
It's nice. Do you have a regular meditation practice? Do you do it like early in the day, later in the day, middle of the day?
We have a weekly meditation group that we meet with on Tuesdays. So it's nice. And I always feel like the group ones are more powerful. I don't know if it's just like the combined forces of everyone. And then I try to do a meditation in the evening before bed. So those are the two.
Nice. I have a hard time doing it before bed in the evening. I usually do my best meditations in the morning,
Morning. Yeah.
early morning. But everybody's different. Yeah, for sure. And meditation is relatively new to me. I only started it about the same time that I got into the Law of One, which is about 5 years ago. Up to that point, the idea of just sitting still and doing nothing was just something I could not do. And I still don't meditate in silence. I usually do oming. I listen to some oming recordings and om along with them. And I think that's helped me to approach it the way Raquel does. I look forward to the opportunity to be able to do that and add those vibrations and send those vibrations out. So, yeah, we did do a meditation podcast episode. So if we have any viewers who are still not quite into meditation yet, you might find some good, helpful tips there.
I'll give this quick story, Jonathan. When I first meditation was, my guides have been trying to get me to meditate for like a very long time. I'm talking like early 20s, like teens meditation. And then I would just ignore it. I'm like, I don't want to meditate. That's so boring. It takes so much time to meditate time, right? And as I got older and older, and every time I would sit in meditation, like in a meditation pose, I would hear my guide say, meditate. And then I would do it for like a minute and just get up and go do something. I'm like, this is too hard. And so what ended up happening is, what I found, group meditation was what propelled me into being able to meditate on my own. And what it was is I just joined every meditation, like we're a set of group that we meditate together, and I'm just at every meditation. And for me now, that became a process to where my meditations, I was able to go deeper and deeper in my meditation. Before it was surface level, I'm just sitting there in stillness, the noise. Now I can, not all the time, but I can go into meditation. I don't know what happened, where I went, but I know when I came back, a lot of the answers that answers that I needed came to me. And I was just like, so grateful. I'm like, thank you. So just keep going. It's a process, and I just want everybody to know, don't give up. That's the main advice that the Confederation offers, is to just go into meditation.
They suggest that a lot, for sure. That is definitely a big deal. Yeah, yeah, and I think again, just as you said, starting is probably the hardest thing, and maybe people think you have to meditate for an hour or something, but meditating for 1 minute, just set a goal of meditate for 1 minute and ask for help on that from your guides. And as you said, the more you do it, the easier it gets. That's certainly been my experience. Does anybody else have anything to add on meditation or anything else before we change topics? Cool. Let's take a look at a few passages on creating reality. On May 6th, 2007, Quo said, "You are a part of something that is in exquisite balance. You are in touch with the spirit world and the highest energies, and at the same time, you are in touch with the earth and its heaviest energies. You know of everything from angels and cherubim to the degradation of war, murder, torture, and the evil that entities can do to each other. And your gaze is that gaze which orders things in your world. So perhaps we would say that your most creative means of control is to create the world that you would like to see and live it. For you truly are a co-creator, and you truly can create the reality that you wish to see." On December 16th, 1990, Quo said, "You are your own creation, and the more you accept responsibility for the creation of your life, the more lovely may that life seem, as you find each delicious part to be a gift and each difficult patch to be a challenge and an opportunity." And lastly, on August 12th, 2006, Quo said, "It is not that you draw a good catalyst or poor catalyst or difficult catalyst by some measurement of deserving or merit, Certainly, that which you are thinking or doing creates the nexus from which more things come to you. As you think, so do you draw things to you. Yet in that moment in which catalyst occurs to you, you are not responsible for that which comes in. The area of your responsibility is that which is evoked or elicited by the catalyst. Therefore, you, as creators, are responsible for your responses to catalyst. What shall be your responses this day to the thoughts you think, to the people you meet, and to the situations which you address? That is your area of creativity. It is a good thing to focus upon the fact that you are all creative. How can a creator not be creative? Therefore, create your creation consciously and do not be dismayed that the outer world does not seem to reflect your creation. Yeah, if there's one thing that I have found from paying attention to current events and politics, it is that, man, I have no control over what happens out there. That stuff is so far beyond my control. I don't really see any point anymore to worrying about it or stressing over what I can't control. But I like the part where they're saying you can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond to it. And that's where the inner work and the shadow work comes in that I think we were talking about earlier, of responding from a place of love rather than fear. That's something I'm continually working on and learning. Any thoughts on anything here, Desi?
Yeah, I feel that as far as not worrying about how the outer world doesn't reflect your creation is what I think is that we're all co-creators, so we're not the only one creating. So that makes sense that why the world doesn't look exactly how you want it to look is because there's all these other beings that are co-creating. So not to be dismayed by that. And I like what they say about like you can't really control what happens, but just your response to it and to find that glimmer even in kind of a very challenging situation, that to find the way to still approach it with love and find that gift within that situation, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Which I think maybe goes back to what we saw in one of the earlier passages about looking at people that you find to be, let's just say, of the opposite polarity, and realizing that they are creator also, and that is creator learning from creator. And doesn't mean you have to like what they're doing, doesn't mean you have to support what they're doing, but at least acknowledging that what they're doing is a creator in another body having another spiritual journey. That's no less valid than yours. It's a challenge for all of us, I think, these days. Michael, anything to add?
Yeah, I really liked what Desi said about approaching it with love. I mean, that really goes back to meditation too and staying balanced, especially in the mornings, those morning meditations. If you can balance yourself out to not be so anxious when you're heading out, or to not be if you can approach everything with balance, you'll find you approach every situation with more love.
Well said. Well said. Raquel, anything to add?
Yeah, as I'm thinking about this, first of all, I have a very vivid imagination, and I use my imagination to create love and beauty around me, both in what I like to see around my home, within my life space. And so I'm one of those people that believe you can affect change in the world. And how you do that is by all the stuff that we've been talking about: loving the self, becoming the creator, shining your light bright. The creator loves love. The moment that you have fully stepped into that space as the creator and knowing that consciously and starting to make the steps. And for me, that came through polarizing. Like once I made the choice, I started to polarize even more towards the love of the creator. And so what that is that you're this bright light shining now in the universe. And that bright light attracts the creator and the love of the other entities around you so much more that they start helping you make change that you want to see in the world. And the more of us do that, that's how us getting together and doing what we do is so important, because that's how we're affecting change. That's how the planet became fourth density, because the wanderers came down here and started helping, shining their light bright and letting the world know, being you, loving you, being the creator. It's okay. Just that's the path back to the creator and back to love. The creator's love, I'm telling you, when the light's shining,
Yeah.
affecting change.
Yeah, beautifully said. And it is a good reminder that we have been told many times that each of us has spirit guides and inner planes beings who want nothing more than to help us do what we came to this incarnation to do, and nothing more than to help us lighten earth energies with love and understanding and help the world do that. But again, you kind of have to ask for that help because they won't violate free will. They won't help if you don't ask. And so making a habit of that is something I've certainly made part of my practice for a while now. Again, so many beautiful insights and everything that you've shared. I really appreciate it. And particularly that part, I think, about taking responsibility for how you respond to stuff, I think is definitely a big takeaway lesson for me. Does anybody else have any other thoughts on anything in these passages?
Yeah, I like what Raquel was saying about how if you pursue love, that you'll get assistance in a way. And it kind of makes me think of maybe it's free will related. It's like the more you polarize, the more those entities in higher planes can be like, okay, this is what this person really has chosen. That way I can assist. But if you're still stuck in the sometimes I choose bad or good, then it doesn't can't really assist you because you haven't really made a choice quite yet.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And just to remember that we are all magicians. I mean, we might not feel like it at times, but in reality, we are. And that means even creating your desolate, depressed state is also you being a magician in that moment. And it's hard to come to those terms. But if you start to forgive yourself for times you've created a not so wonderful life for yourself, you can start to like move towards the one you want. And I just want people to remember the magic that lives within them. It's the creator's love.
Beautifully said. And a great segue into our next topic and our next couple passages. Let's go ahead, take a look at a couple passages on creating magic. On April 22nd, 2007, Quo said, "Your culture is a very disempowering culture, in our humble opinion. It seems to be bent upon removing from your mind any thoughts that do not have to do with maintaining the status quo of life as a consumer. However, my friends, you are at heart not simply a consumer. Indeed, you are potentially a co-creator and a magical, powerful being capable of functioning in such a way as to change the true core nature of planet Earth on the metaphysical level." And on September 5th, 2010, Quo said, and this has been edited for brevity, "And in a way, the right use of power is heavily connected to polarity and to your moving yourself into a polarized position. When you finally realize that you are a powerful, powerful person, that you are actually magic, you are a co-creator, actually. To use Ra's terms, you're a co-creator. The power that you have is awesome and infinite. And when you focus it, and when you let loose that focus, and you are engaged, and you are paying attention, and you are there, the world becomes an incredible place. And when you realize that with your power, that what you forgive is forgiven, that means you can forgive, and it is so. If you judge, it is also so for you. So how do you want to set up your universe? How do you want your creation to run? You want it to run on love, probably. That's the kind of creation you'd like to live in, and you have the power to do that. Really love those passages and appreciate the segue from Raquel on here. It is something that, yeah, really, you don't really see that in the world's major religions. But here they talk about magic a lot and that we are inherently magical beings, which I guess would only make sense if you're the one infinite creator. Then I guess that kind of makes you magical by most definitions. So nothing new here, I think. Michael, any thoughts on either of these passages?
I actually like right at the beginning where he states, or quote states that we are kind of disempowering. Right there is that victimization of society, right? The lack of responsibility that people don't want to take. I've often joked that the first thing we got to do when a problem shows up is find somebody to blame for that problem, which is what people like to do. And that doesn't solve the problem. You know, if we did start taking that responsibility for ourselves, for everything that we do, to me, that is very freeing. the more responsibility you take for every situation, the freer you become from being dependent on somebody else to take that.
For sure. Although it would be fair to say part of that is thinking about how your actions affect others.
Absolutely. 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 Because if you're responsible for yourself, you're also responsible for how you act around others or what you do to others as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said. Anything to add, Raquel?
Um, yes. So I feel like I've gone through this process both on the lower vibrational side and now the higher vibrational side of this process. That means I was experiencing creating my reality when it was a very unhappy reality for me. I was had anxiety, I would have depressions like on a cycle, and I would just be very angry inside, but not really expressing it outwards. And at that time, I thought the creator abandoned me, to be honest. I was like, the creator doesn't love me. The creator's not with me. I don't hear anything from the creator. I feel lost, right? And I would go through this process and I was like, but how do I get back to the creator? Like I want to feel the creator's joy and love again. And I didn't know how to do that for a very long time, to be honest with you. But as I found my way out and the I believe it was my will and my faith that helped me find my way out. As I found my way out back to where I felt like the sun was shining again and I was receiving connection again from the creator and messages that I thought I hadn't been receiving before. I started to realize that at that time when I created my reality and now I'm transitioning into a reality that I love and I'm joyous and celebrating with the creator, that was me too, as the creator experiencing that and going through that. And that was um, for me a trying time. So now looking back, I could say, oh, now I'm looking back at that time. I was in victimhood state. I was didn't take accountability for what I was creating. But now that I know I'm a co-creator, I take responsibility even when things don't go my way or it's not creating possibly working out the way I want. But I'm just telling you, once you recognize that and to take accountability is basically what I'm trying to say. I took accountability for the time where I created a not so wonderful time for myself in life. And now I'm fully taking accountability for helping to co-create what I do want in my life. And I'm just so grateful that the creator has given me the insight to be able to see that.
Yeah, what a powerful teaching and transformative, both, I think, on the inner level as well as how that affects the outer world as well. Super appreciate that. Desi, anything to add?
Yeah. What stood out to me was that part where it says maintaining the status quo of life as a consumer. And I do think that our society does kind of push you to like, you need more things, you need to prove your worth by accumulating more houses, cars, things, and that it's kind of interestingly enough, the opposite of creation is to consume, right? So like take in instead of like putting things out there. And so I think that's really interesting how that occurs. Um, and what Raquel was saying about like those times when she felt disconnected from the creator, I do feel the same that the times I felt most disconnected have been the times I've been in kind of a victim mindset.
Mhm.
And that maybe you have to be in that state in order to learn that you can almost like save yourself in a way, that not to wait, not like I'm waiting on an external creator to come like pull me out of this like misery, that it's within my power, that eventually I can find a way to do that myself. And the creator's willing to meet me there. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, what Desi's saying, if you look at it, that's a full reflection of what's happening in the world, right? Like everybody's in this victim mindset. It's like they're waiting on a savior that is not coming back in the way they think. And you know, it's completely in the collective consciousness, right? To be a victim, not work on the shadow, sweep it under the rug. And I do believe there's cracks and there's openings and people are becoming more conscious, but that is what we have to get through is really that mindset that we're separate and that we're the victims. And if we can use love to heal, but yeah, I was
For
just
sure.
that parallel.
Yeah, so many times, Quo and our other friends in the Confederation have said, in different ways that the best way to change the outer world really is to change the inner world. And if you want the world to be more loving, then you have to learn how to be more loving inside. And it's a super powerful thing. And it took me a long time to realize that, but to realize that, oh, that's not just a cute Hallmark greeting card saying that is literally true. The best way to change the outer world is to change the inner world. And you don't need any political structures to do that. You don't need a lot of money to do that. It's just something you need to be able to do inside. But it is a powerful thing. And I think, as you were alluding to, Desi, yeah, those serve to self entities that are in control of our political, social, economic structures. They don't want people thinking about that. They really don't want people to realize how powerful they are and how much ability they have. They really would rather us just be sleepy, happy slaves and happy consumers and such. So we are magical beings, as Raquel said, or as the entity known as Hagrid once said, "You're a wizard, Harry." Goes all the way down the archetypical mind, I believe, the very beginning of it. We are magicians, which is a beautiful, empowering thing. Anybody else have any thoughts on anything up to this point before we move on? This might be a shorter than usual episode. I think we are actually looking at our last set of passages now. Last passage, and this is on creating your future. This is a 2-slide passage. It is from July 1st, 1990. This is from Quo, and this has been edited for brevity. Quo says, "You are never without the ability to choose that which occurs to you, because if you have no fear, you may have negative experiences, which you will only see as environments in which to learn challenging lessons of love. Positive entities can gain at one, shall we say, of the loyal opposition, and find in this contact the opportunity to realize that this entity too is a part of the self and is to be loved and blessed and prayed for and cared for and taken into the heart. Your physical evolution in this density is over. Your spiritual evolution is beginning. Make your choices fervently, carefully, and persistently. In order to aid you in these choices and in your point of view, we ask 2 things of you. Firstly, we ask that you find a path that includes love of the Infinite One, shown as worship, adoration, or simple attention on a daily basis. We do not ask for any particular path to be followed. We are not those who ask for one religion or another. You choose the path that works for you and brings you into awareness of your true self and your true relationship with the Infinite One. Daily time spent in silence, listening for the voice that is silent but speaks so loudly, is recommended as an aid to this process of choice. Our other request of you is that you be lighthearted and merry and find every chance to be joyful and to love one another, not as a solemn duty, not as a reason to polarize, that negates the polarization, but find joy in the service that gives you the true freedom and peace of doing that which you have now found, that which you wish to do with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. Be merry in your service, be merry in your worship, for the most serious choices of millions of years are being made by you now, and you would be crushed by your own solemnity and your own realization of your importance of this choice did you not have the saving grace of a sense of humor. See the illusion in the choices that you make, not only as life and death choices that they are, but also as part of the unimaginably funny human comedy of the soap opera that is called third density experience. Oh, how high your emotions run, and how important everything seems. Step back whenever you feel too intensely disturbed, or saddened, or despairing, or inconsolable. Step back and see the thousands of years that lie before and after this moment. Do whatever is necessary for you to break the spell of the illusion, and then gaze up at the stars, which are part of the love of the infinite Creator, and know that you're a player upon a stage, and you do choose the comedies and the happy endings, and have no wish to be stabbed through in great Shakespearean agony in the 5th act. The critic that is you you can be assured we'll give you a better review for the comedy. I really, really love this passage, and I've gone back and reread it many times in recent weeks, and it always makes me smile. And it's one of the things I love about Quo. You would never find Ra speaking like this. Ra speaks in very short, technically precise terminology language. The turn of the phrases that Quo uses, the unimaginably funny human comedy of the soap opera. You choose the comedies and the happy endings. The critic is you. You can be assured we'll give you a better review for the comedy. It's a great, 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 great set of teachings. And it just makes me think in many ways life is kind of like a reality TV show, and you are the director, you are the actor, you are the writer, you are the audience, and you get to choose whether it's going to be a drama or comedy, a horror movie or a sitcom. I just find that delightful. Any thoughts on anything here, Raquel?
Oh, and a messy soap opera it is, with all the bitch slaps and cat fights and the drama. It's like never ending. We are beyond a reality TV show at this point. I mean, we can't take any more is my thing, but I feel like what they're saying here is that if you can maintain your your joy and your childlike um outlook on this life experience that you're having, because there's some times that I'm so pulled into the drama, like the other day, the trash people didn't pick up my trash after I first it was like put the box at the side and now you have to put it in the bin. And I put it in the bin and they didn't pick it up. I was so mad. I was like, called them right away. And I was like, you didn't pick up my trash. And I had to go through this whole process. And so the bottom line is I got caught up in the drama of them not picking up my trash. And then I realized I was caught up in the drama of them not picking up my trash when I came back and they picked it up and the trash was on the floor and I started laughing and I was like, so this is what I'm doing today. This is my soap opera today. I'm I'm having the trash drama, you know? And so I kind of chuckled a little bit and then I was like, okay, so when I left and I came back, I said, if they pick it up, they pick it up. If they don't, I'm okay. I took myself out of the story a little bit and started to release myself from all the emotion and the anger that I should be feeling. And I try to do that here and then when I'm going through like a little thing happening and just remind myself that this is hilarious. If you know me, I'm always making jokes. I'm always being silly because that's what's required here. If you're serious and you're not, it's going to be a long incarnation with that type of attitude. And I just think that, we have the power, we have the free will to decide what are we going to experience here. And, we do have to when catalyst happens and it's not by our fault and we have to choose our reactions as well. And so we have to remember our free will, our ability to make these choices and create something, an experience you want to have as opposed to one you don't. And when you are stuck in it, for me, I use meditation, I use music a lot to pull myself out of the drama and the saga that's happening in my life at any given moment.
For sure. Yeah, me too. Music has been a huge help for me, both just for my mental, emotional health as well as spiritual growth. Yeah, I appreciate your emphasizing the humor part because, yeah, it is, again, another thing that I appreciate about the Law of One. I think most of the world's major religions, spiritual paths I've seen probably mention humor at some point and say it's somewhat important, but it's usually rare and just a passing thing. But yeah, in all the channeling transcripts over the years, they've talked about it a lot. They've talked many times about the importance of humor. Not just for mental health, but it's a really important part of your spiritual growth to be able to do all those things and approach all those situations like you talked about with humor. Much appreciated. What do you think, Desi? Any thoughts on anything?
Yeah, what it reminded me of is like to try to zoom out. And I think that's kind of what our creator does is like, and our kind of role is kind of to be zoomed in, is what I think. And this in our time space illusion is because we're experiencing. And in order to experience, you have to be kind of like, to experience intensely, I think you have to be like really in the moment and really like zoomed in, of course. And you're feeding that energy back to the creator for it to gain wisdom. But if you want to see it how the ultimate creator sees everything, you have to kind of zoom out and see, okay, this moment when I was betrayed or this moment when things didn't go my way, it's a very tiny moment and it's not the whole story. And I always think that in the end, I feel like love is the ultimate thing. And if you're in a moment that's not loving, it's not the final moment. It's like there's more steps to come, I guess.
So beautifully said. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, it reminds me, I think Carla has said many times, encourage people when they're in situations like we're talking about here to dolly back the camera, is what she was saying, like as if your life was a movie or a TV show. Pull the camera back so that you can see it in a wider context. And like you're saying, pull it back like into space. Looking at the planet from space definitely
Right.
helps put things in a better perspective. And time, like you said, not only are we a small point in space, but we're a small point in time. Whatever seems so dramatic now is really just a tiny, tiny blink of an eye in time. And presumably, hopefully, things get much better. Michael, anything to add?
I love what Raquel was saying about letting go of any situation, because in that reality creation, I mean, you want to leave it with the most loving feeling you can, whether it's humor or just joy, but then letting go of it and knowing that it'll be okay regardless,
Yeah.
and you tend to find that those situations, what you need comes back to you. And the other thing too was Cole said something in the beginning about knowing the creator and having that relationship with the creator, which I honestly, that to me is so important, because knowing the creator, you do begin to realize that the creator is in all things, in all people. To me, that's important as well.
Yeah, well said. I hadn't really thought of it that way, but that makes perfect sense. Many times, letting go is the hardest thing to do. You get so caught up in the drama of what's going on, get so caught up in the anger and the gut twisting part. It really is hard to let go. But as you said, super important. I really like that last part in the last paragraph where they say, you're a player upon the stage. You choose the comedies, happy endings. You have no wish to be stabbed through. In great Shakespearean agony in the fifth act, the critic that is you, you can be assured, will give you a better review for the comedy. It's a great reminder that what Dr. Michael Newton learned in his hypnotic regression work and the books that he wrote on Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. It is, I think, a helpful thing to remember as you go through this process that, yeah, when your incarnation ends, you are in fact going to wake up to a larger life, and you are in fact going to review your whole life again with your spirit guides and whoever is your counselor at that time. And yeah, yeah, it would be nice if you could. You'll probably get a better review for being able to make a comedy out of it than making some sad, tragic drama out of your life. I think that's a beautiful thing to remember. Anybody have any thoughts on anything else before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I'd like to say that stepping into the role as the creator is seen as not an easy one because it requires so much. It requires you to be the best version of yourself. It requires discipline of the personality. It requires you making the choice, sticking to it over and over and over again, because every day Catalyst comes and gives you the opportunity to make a different choice. But that's why people think, oh, becoming the creator is so difficult. But it's not. Like once you actually consciously make that choice within your soul, and now you're living and you know these principles and you're living your life as the creator, the catalyst not doesn't go away, but it becomes easier to manage. It becomes easier to manage the catalyst that comes. You now have the tools that you've been studying and practicing to navigate those catalysts, and you begin to use them. And then you start to see, oh my gosh, I am the creator and I can do magic. Okay, calm down. I got this. And then next catalyst, let's go. You know what I mean? And that's how it just gets, you just get on a roll. And suddenly you're like, I'm the creator. And you believe this to your core now. And now you're affecting change. I'm saying all this because this is happening to me. And so this is how it started for me. I just started to do the little inner work that took me step by step back on my path, straight back to the creator where it's meant to be. And so I just want to leave everybody with an encouraging note that it's not a difficult process. It's just you being the best version of you.
Beautifully said. Yeah. Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me. I'm able to look at things through a law of one perspective, that out of the 8 billion plus souls incarnated on Earth at this time, every one of them has a tailor-made reality, a tailor-made life to experience that has catalyst that was tailor-made for them to learn the lessons that they came here to do. That's just amazing. It's a beautiful thing to contemplate, to realize that that is in fact true, not just for you, but for every other soul on the planet. It's a beautiful thing. Anybody else have any other last thoughts before we wrap things up?
One thought that came up was that you could be experiencing the same catalyst as someone else, but your perception of what that means creates a whole different reality. Like if you're perceiving the catalyst as like, okay, this is like something for me to grow or a wisdom or a lesson to learn versus like this happened to me because I'm a bad person or because the world is bad, is like it's like the same events are happening, but it's a completely different experience in reality, how you perceive it, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, and I think that has come more to my attention in recent years that, I mean, literally anything you look at, there's lots of different ways to look at it. There's not just one correct way or two correct ways. There's lots of different legitimate ways to look at it. And for me, at least, that helps in being more compassionate and less judgmental about people who see things in a different way than I do or experience things in a different way. Super helpful.
Yeah, and don't be
Michael?
so
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
don't be so hard on yourself, Jonathan, and everybody else, me and everybody on the call that does that. You know, it's we're not we still have the human um this is what we're working through as human beings, and this is what we came to refine as wanderers, as you know, as well. And so it don't be so hard on yourself when you don't do it perfect or you don't get it done. I used to really get down on myself when I'm like, oh, this wasn't the best version of myself. But the more I understood is that, you know what, I'm aiming for an overall grade, not just like a daily test, you know? Like give me the overall grade. But I do well on my pop quizzes. So just take it easy, guys, and love yourself enough to have grace with yourself.
For sure. Appreciate that. And I only say those things about myself just to be honest and open with viewers and know that I'm not perfect. I'm working on the same things that everybody else is too. But I do love myself and I accept myself and I have forgiven myself. And now I'm just working on the becoming the creator part. Generally speaking. Yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah. Michael, any last thoughts before we wrap things up?
I just love what Raquel was just saying about not being so hard on yourself and forgiving yourself, because that builds confidence right there in all the things that you do. Because if you know you'll forgive yourself, then you'll allow yourself to make that mistake, and you know you can come back from it, because you know if you make that mistake, you're going to forgive yourself. So it's
Yeah, well said. As always, learned a lot from you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look. Did want to remind our viewers that we did actually have a podcast episode on laughter and the law of one. So if you want to see some great passages from channeling sessions about the importance of humor in our spiritual growth, check it out. We also did have a podcast episode on the one infinite creator. So if you'd like to dig a little bit deeper into that topic, that'd be a great one. Otherwise, where do we go from here? What are some good takeaway lessons that we might remember from our hour-long discussion? I've got 3 to suggest. 1, remember that you are God, and so is everybody and everything else. If you don't remember anything else from this, that would be a great one. 2nd, remember that Creator learns about itself through you and everyone and everything else, everything that you experience. And that you are indeed magical. You do indeed create love and reality and your future in spite of any appearances to the contrary. Anybody have any other takeaway lessons to add? Desi, any last thoughts on this or takeaway lessons?
I mean, I think you summarized it beautifully. You are God, so is everything else, everybody else. To keep yourself humble, I guess, but also remind yourself that you're magical and you can create your own reality.
Indeed. I suppose it would be worth noting that we've been talking from the perspective of those on the service to others or the positive path. The very most basic fundamental part of the negative path or service to self is seeing self as creator, but not seeing creator in anyone else.
Right.
That is a big key difference and part of the choice that each of us kind of needs to make in this density. Raquel, anything to add?
I said a lot, so but I'll say that the creator is love, and seeing another as love is first seeing yourself as the creator with love. And if you could just love yourself enough that your love now will you'll be able to love somebody else truly and see them as the creator. And that process is how you get there, because some of us can't just automatically see another person as a creator. Love yourself first, generate that love within yourself, and then you'll start to see another person as the creator.
Well said. Michael, anything to add?
Not to these three right here, no. They kind of sum up exactly what I thought about so many years ago when I was very, very young, which was that we are the universe experiencing itself. And that's really what it is.
Such a beautiful thing. So easy to forget. So important to remember. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here and for sharing your thoughts and your love and your wisdom. And that was only the first thing that you are here for. The second and main thing you're here for is for the pop quiz. Pop quiz, of course, is something we like to do to end our podcasts on a fun note, to end our otherwise serious discussions with a little bit of laughter and levity, and maybe look for some Law of One connections to pop culture. Since today's episode was about creators and co-creators, we're going to get a little creative with today's pop quiz. Today's pop quiz is going to be a little bit new, different. Today, your pop quiz is on a famous painter in pop culture. There are not many painters that everybody has heard of, but there are a few, like Picasso, Van Gogh, Andy Warhol. Today, we're going to have a pop quiz today on a great painter that most everyone has heard of, but probably know almost nothing about. I'm talking about a well-known woman painter from the country of Mexico. Any idea who I'm talking about, panelists?
Frida?
Frida Kahlo,
Ah.
indeed. Yes. Do you guys know much about her? I didn't know anything about her until I
don't.
started writing this pop quiz. Do you guys know anything about her?
Not too much, no.
Fascinating person. She is known for her many self-portraits, portraits, and other often surrealistic paintings of magical realism and inspired by Mexican culture that she lived in and loved. She was also known for her somewhat eccentric, shall we say, colorful personality. So I learned a lot about her in writing this pop quiz, and hopefully you will too, and so will our viewers. Did want to assure everyone I am not an expert on her, and I apologize for anything I say that is incorrect or inaccurate. But today's pop quiz is a little bit special because after the questions, I'm actually going to show you some of her paintings that I'm guessing that you've never seen unless you have studied her before. So it's going to be both a pop quiz and a little bit of an art history lesson. Are you guys ready for your first question? First question is, a key catalyst for the beginning of Kahlo's painting career was what? Was it A, a bus accident, B, an illness, or C, a dream?
This one's hard, I'm not gonna lie.
I'll go with C.
You can take a guess. You're not supposed to answer any of these correctly. You're just supposed to give it your best guess.
Oh, but I actually want to win. I'm gonna go with A.
Nice.
I'm going to go with A.
Nice.
I'll go with C.
Nice. Correct answer, as far as I can tell, is A, and to some extent B. In September 1925, when she was 18, she boarded a bus with her boyfriend, then named Alex Gomez Arias. As the bus turned a corner, it collided with a streetcar, and her boyfriend described the bus as bursting into 1,000 pieces with a handrail ripping through Kahlo's torso. And again, her boyfriend said, and now I'm quoting him here, he said, "Something strange had happened. Frida was totally nude. The collision had unfastened her clothes. Someone in the bus, probably a house painter, had been carrying a packet of powdered gold. This package broke, and the gold fell all over the bleeding body of Frida. When people saw her, they cried, la ballerina, or the dancer. With the gold on her red, bloody body, they thought she was a dancer. The accident broke her spinal column, her collarbone, her ribs, and pelvis, fractured her right leg in 11 places, and dislocated her shoulder. Those severe injuries left her racked with pain for pretty much the rest of her life and frequently bedbound. But during these times, Kahlo picked up her father's paintbrush, and her mother helped arrange a special easel that would allow her to paint in her bed. And of her life's hardships, Kahlo once said, "At the end of the day, we can endure much more than we think we can." In 1953, her right leg was amputated below the knee due to gangrene. The amputation was a result of complications from polio that she had as a child that affected her right leg. She endured years of chronic pain, numerous surgeries, and when that leg was amputated, she said, "Feet, what do I need you for when I have wings to fly?" Just amazing, amazing person who apparently chose to have that catalyst just so, like Carla, she would be able to focus on non-physical things.
That's what I thought about.
Ready for your second question?
Yeah.
Second question. Frida had which of the following as a pet? A, monkey, B, parrot, C, eagle, or D, Xoloitzcuintli? I'm not going to tell you what that last one is. Either you know what it is or you don't. This will
I'm
be
like,
your.
what the hell is Shola Exakalete? Whatever, Jonathan. This one is a full setup, and I could see that. So I'm just gonna make a random guess and go with. I'm gonna say a parrot. I'm torn between parrot and eagle, but I'm going parrot.
Nice. Desi, Michael?
Yeah, I'm torn between parrot and eagle. So parrot.
I'm between eagle or however you say the last one.
Xoloitzcuintli, which is apparently a hairless dog popular in Mexico that goes all the way back to Aztec times. The correct answer is all of the above.
Oh.
The house that she lived in was called Casa Azul, or Blue House, and she had a whole little menagerie of all these animals. She had a couple of the dogs. She had a pair of spider monkeys. She had an Amazon parrot. She had an eagle. She had a fawn. All of these appear in her paintings or photos with her, as you will see when we're done. But yeah, fascinating person. I think because she was so bedridden and couldn't go many places, she just learned to paint herself and learned to paint herself with the animals that she kept as friends. Ready for your next question?
Oh.
Kahlo identified as what? A, bisexual, B, pansexual, C, asexual, or D, intersexual? This is your LGBTQ pop quiz, vocab quiz. Yeah.
I didn't study, so I'm in trouble. Okay, I'm gonna go with B.
Nice.
I'll go with B as well, I think.
I
Nice.
thought in the beginning for the bus ride, it said she had a boyfriend, so I'm going to go with A.
Nice. Correct answer indeed is A, bisexual. For viewers who are not clear on all the terms, bisexual means having romantic or sexual orientation towards more than one gender. Pansexual means having romantic or sexual attraction toward others that's not directed towards any specific sex or gender. Asexual means having a lack of or varying occasional experiences of sexual attraction. Some asexual people experience romantic attraction, others don't. Intersexual means having biological attributes of both sexes that don't fit the societal assumptions of what constitutes male or female. So yeah, apparently Kahlo has been regarded as a hero of the LGBTQ community because she was openly bisexual. She had affairs with both men and women throughout her life and openly explored her sexuality. She was married to Diego Rivera, who also had multiple affairs while they were married, including with Kahlo's own sister. Yeah, their whole relationship was very complicated to say the least. Are you
Sounds
ready
like
for your last? Oh, go ahead.
sounds like a soap opera filled with drama.
There was a movie about her, the actress Selma Hayek.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying her real life was what we call what we were talking about, how we get caught up in the drama and we, create it in a certain way. So yeah.
for sure. For sure. You ready for your last question?
Yeah, ready.
Kahlo painted how many self-portraits? Was it A, 35, B, 45, or C, 55? I think I misread those. Is it A,
Oh,
35,
55.
B, 55, or C, 75?
Okay. Yep. Wow. Like I don't even have a point of reference in my mind.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what to say. Knowing Jonathan, it's a combination of all the above. But hey, I've been here before, Des.
You've done too many of these pop quizzes, my friend. Yeah,
Be careful. Tread lightly on this one.
yeah, lightly. Yeah. What do you think, Michael? Desi?
Go with the large number. I'm gonna go with a C.
Nice.
I'll go with B, 55.
I'm gonna go
Nice.
with adding all the numbers above.
It's well done. The correct answer is, in fact, B, 55. It was about a third of her paintings were self-portraits. She often included symbols from Mexican culture in her personal life to create very revealing self-portraits. And she once said, quote, "I paint myself because I am so often alone, because I'm the subject I know best." So a great example of the discipline of personality, someone who knew herself, accepted herself, and became quite the creator. Well done. As promised, for those of you who have never seen any of Frida's paintings, I went and collected a bunch of pictures of them that you may or may not enjoy seeing. But this is a photo of her in her bed, learning how to paint. And yes, there were many paintings of her illustrating the physical pain and suffering and ordeals that she had to go through. Many, many surgeries, had to wear metal corsets to keep her spine aligned, keep her from pain. She had a number of miscarriages reflected in the painting on the left. This one is called Without Hope, which kind of speaks for itself. Here are some of her self-portraits with her spider monkeys, with her parrot. Not sure if she had more than one parrot or not. She had one that she considered her favorite that she named Bonito. There's the little Sholok Squintley down there at the bottom there. There's a picture of her with her fawn. Another surreal painting, self-portrait. There's a picture of her with her eagle. Here's some of her other paintings, self-portraits. Quite the unibrow that woman had.
Oh, I'm gonna say I love that she committed to the unibrow and a slight mustache and just loved herself the way she was. And I think that's a perfect example of loving
Yeah,
yourself as the creator, and just accepting it.
absolutely. So
100%.
much self-love.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
Here's some other paintings with different themes. This one I like, called Sun and Life, a little portrait of our sub-logos. These are actual photos of her taken at the time. The one on the left was from 1939. And yeah, thing that really strikes me about her is that, wow, I mean, she would rock out Instagram if she was alive right now. She'd be posting amazing, really cool photos of herself on Instagram and of her paintings. She was a very, very colorful person. There's pictures of her featuring her husband, Diego Rivera. Again, had a very complicated relationship, to be sure. This photo having dinner with friends. She met, I believe, Diego at meetings of the Communist Party in Mexico. They were both members of the Mexican Communist Party and had passions for Mexico's new identity after its Mexican Revolution, like Russia had with the Russian Revolution. Couple quotes I wanted to end with. She said, "I used to think I was the strangest person in the world, but then I thought there are so many people in the world. There must be someone like me who feels bizarre and flawed in the same ways I do. I would imagine her and imagine that she must be out there thinking of me too. Well, I hope that if you are out there and read this and know that, yes, it's true, I'm here, and I'm just as strange as you." Hopefully there are a couple viewers watching this who that resonates with. And lastly, she said, "Our passing through this earth is so absurd and fleeting that it calms me to know that I have been authentic, that I have managed to be more like myself as much as I could." Again, great example of knowing yourself, accepting yourself, and becoming a great creator. All of these pictures, paintings that I got can be found at fridakahlo.org. Encourage our readers to check it out. Viewers, panelists, as always, it's been such a joy and a privilege to hang out with you. Did you have any last goodbyes you wanted to say to our viewers?
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for letting me be here. The panel was so great. I mean, you guys had such good insights, and I can't wait to see this episode.
So nice.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone being here, everybody who's watching. I enjoy doing these so much. I look forward to them.
Me too.
Yeah,
Desi?
this is super fun, and I really enjoyed myself. Thank you all for the listeners and for all of you for participating.
Thank you. Panelists, thank you for being here. Thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To all our friends at L&L Research, thank you for all you've done, continue to do in service to others. To anyone who's watching this on video in the future, near or distant, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. We are sending you our love light, and we are receiving yours through time space. Until next time, in the love and light of the one infinite creator. Adonai. Namaste.